Can you talk about physically and mentally what that process was like? You know, the amount of pain, the recovery process. Did it change your outlook on the game at all?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm grateful for this platform because I think a lot of athletes go through injuries and don't really know what to make of it, have a hard time bouncing back, have a hard time getting through the actual process of I'm going to be away from my sport. I got to do what I need to do to make sure my body is right, and as well as my mental state. So it was very tough, very tough. Like I'll precede it by saying um, when I was in the later stage of return to play protocol, I kind of started, the physical was coming around and starting to feel better, and I was starting to get there. But the mental, like when you're away from the sport and you're not competing in competition speed, you find a rhythm when you do competition over and over and over, and you get a good feel for your sport. So I knew that mentally speaking, once I was able to be like grateful for the injury and not be angry about it or um, like resentful, once I was able to like actually embrace it, be grateful for it, see the good in it, that was when I would be completely like 100% ready to return to sport, even though I was still like playing games, like physically I was back. So I think that's a pretty like interesting thing because it's very hard to have that perspective when you're in the thick of it. A lot of people will come around to that, years down the road. So it was kind of a weird like realization where I was like, this feels right. Like when I am over the injury is going to be when I'm mentally there as well as physically. So it was nice to have that perspective. No one really like told me that verbatim, but just from a lot of hours in the rehab room, doing my own stuff in the gym, thinking about coming back to the sport, being impatient, all of those thoughts that fly through your head. I think that's what helped me come around to that. So, yeah, it was tough, like when you're out from your sport for a long time, um, it's not just let me get my actual joint healthy and then I'll be exactly who I was. I was definitely motivated to come back more athletic, more mobile, better performer than I was previous to the injury, which I think is a good way to approach an injury, like trying to be better than when you were before it instead of just trying to get back to even. But yeah, like it's a full package when you have sustain a major injury. There's sprained ankles, there's stress fractures, there's stuff here and there that you can get back from if you have the right people around you. But a big injury, it's not just physical. You're going to feel a lot of emotions. Mentally, you're going to be a little lost, wonder, why did this happen to me? Um, couldn't I have just, stayed healthy? Did I do something wrong? Like all those questions fly through your head. And it's important to realize, this is a holistic return to your sport, not just one aspect of that.